In Genesis 1, it says this: Then God said, "Let us make man in our image, in our likeness, and let them rule over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air, over the livestock, over all the earth, and over all the ground that move along the ground." So God created man in his own image. In the image of God he created them. Male and female he created them. And God blessed them and said to them, "Be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air, and over every living creature that moves on the ground." What does it mean to be made in the image of God? Does it mean that we are made in his likeness? I think there are three things that we can say about this. First is that we are called to reflect God's image, reflect God's character. And so when we think about being made in the image of God, we reflect him. We're like little mirrors or little icons of him, so that when people look at us, they should see what God is like. So you think about that God is holy, then we too should be holy. And if God is just, we too should be just. And if God is creative, we too should be creative. And if God is love, we too should love. So the first thing I think we can say about what does it mean to be made in the image of God is that we reflect his character. When people look at us, they have to see a reflection of who God is and what God is like. We reflect his character. The second thing we can say about this is that we are to represent God. God, who is the king of the universe, entrusts his kingdom to humanity, to us. He gives it to us to say, take care of this, be good stewards of this. And one of the things that means, I think, is to be good stewards of the natural resources, to tend to the creation. Because as the scriptures say, the creation itself testifies to the glory and beauty and goodness of God. And so if we misuse creation, if we abuse it, distort it, then we are muffling the voice of creation so that it no longer clearly proclaims the beauty and goodness of God. So one thing is we're to steward creation. Be good stewards of it. Use it well. But it also means, as to be a representative of God, is to be creative, like God is creative. And so we cultivate his creation. We take what he's given to us, and we cultivate it and make something out of it. So here I am standing in front of the Art Museum in Grand Rapids. Art, I think, is a beautiful picture of taking natural resources and combining them into something that is beautiful. Or here I am downtown Grand Rapids, another picture of what it looks like to take something and to cultivate it into something else. I think it's interesting that in Genesis 1 and 2, the scriptures start in a garden. But if we look at the end of the Bible ends in a city. Revelation 21 and 22 talks about his city coming down on the heavens. To be representatives of God means to be good stewards of his creation, but it also means to cultivate his creation, to use it well, to create beauty, to create something from it. The third thing I think we can say about being made in the image of God is that we are called to be in relationship with each other. So the first thing, to reflect God's character, to represent him well in this world. And the third thing, to be in relationships. God is a triune God, meaning that he is three persons, one being, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, perfectly in community for all eternity. And when he creates humanity, he doesn't just create one person, he creates male and female, which I think shows that we are created to be in community with one another. And I think, so we can think about this relationship piece in a few different ways. One, we're created to be in relationship with God. We're created to be in relationship with other people. We're created to be in relationship with creation itself. Again, to come back to this idea to be stewards and cultivators of this creation. And then also being a relationship, healthy relationship with ourselves. Created to be in relationship with God, others, this creation, and ourselves. So, there's much more to be said about this, but here are the few things I think to get us thinking about what does it mean to be made in the image of God. We reflect his character. We reflect his goodness and his justice and his holiness and his righteousness. We represent God by being good stewards of creation, by cultivating it into making something beautiful out of this world. And then we are wired for community, both for God, relationship with God, others, creation, and ourselves.